Hello, and welcome to another How to OU at USU. In today's video, we will be looking at how to create a left-aligned feed template, or at least the left-aligned layout is what I call it. It looks kind of like this, so here's our wireframe. Looks atrocious, right? But that's fine. It's a wireframe. It does what it needs to do. And we'll learn how to do this today, actually just making the layout ourselves with Bootstrap 4 classes and a text editor. So I've already logged into OU Campus. Let's go ahead and begin. I'll go to this Code It with BS4 folder. That doesn't matter. That's just so we can organize some stuff. And we'll create a new page. And again, you should add a page title and description. We're not going to focus on that. We're going to just focus on creating the actual layout itself. So we create the page, and I'm going to go into edit. Just going to delete everything. I don't need that. And then I'm going to save. Then I'm going to open up a text editor. In this video, I'm going to use Visual Studio. You could use Atom, Sublime, Brackets. You could also use like an online resource like CodePen or JS Fiddle or JSBin, anything like that. I'm going to use Visual Studio Code. Cool. And I already have these classes memorized, and if you don't, that's fine. You can memorize them or learn them by going to getbootstrap.com, and you can go into their documentation and you can look up layouts and the grid system, and you can kind of learn about it there. Quick caveat, here at Utah State University, the only div wrapper you don't have to worry about is container. All of our pages already have that pre-built in. You just need to specify the actual rows themselves. This page will show you and tell you how to do that. And I will show and tell you how to do that too right now. So right off the bat, even though this wireframe doesn't have it, I'm going to include my first row to take up all 12 of the Bootstrap 4 columns. How do I know that? So Bootstrap uses this grid layout, right? And it's really simple to learn. Just think of everything as coming in columns of 12. So you have a row, and then you can have up to 12 different little columns within that row. Then you can specify the number of columns you want it to take up. So see, this one takes up 8. This one takes up 4. If you don't specify, you can also let Bootstrap 4 determine for you. That's pretty cool. I don't usually use it that way because I usually have a specific layout in mind that I want it to do, so it's easier for me to just specify exactly what I want. I'm going to go into my text editor. Part of why I'm using Visual Studio Code is they have this really cool shortcut enabler already built in. It's called Emmet. Makes it really easy for me to create stuff, markup very quickly. Not going to go into great detail on most of that, but you can follow along and kind of get an idea of how these things work. And if nothing else, one of the next things you need to look up is Emmet on YouTube, and there's some pretty good videos out there on how to make it do what you want and stuff. So Emmet is EMMET if you are interested, and you can see that it says Emmet abbreviation right there. So I'm going to start by typing in that dot that says to create a div. I'm going to say that I want a class of row on this first div, and then I'm going to set up a child to this div tag, and it will also be a div, and it will have a class of col12. Then I'm going to push tab, and then you can kind of see I set up this first div tag with a class of row that has a child div tag with a class of col12. That's where I'll put my header, so just add an H1, I don't know, something cool. Something cool goes there. And then I'll go ahead and start creating these. Now, since all of these rows take the same basic layout, it's going to be super easy to do with Visual Studio Code and with Emmet or any text editor that has Emmet installed. I'm going to type in row, again, dot row, so that way I create a div tag with a class of row. Then I'm going to set up a child, and that child is going to be, col 12, so that way on super small devices like a cell phone, it'll take up all 12 of the columns. But then I'll also add another class, col, and then SM for small, for your small devices like iPad, tablet, those sorts of things, and bigger. Hyphen, and then I want this first one to take up about 1/3 of these 12 columns. I know that it's 12 columns. I want it to take up 1/3 using some basic maths, right? That's 4? Yeah, we'll go with 4. It's 4. Cool. And what that'll do, if I push tab right now, that'll create that first div with in the row, and that's awesome, and that's what we kind of need. But we also need to take and create this other div, right? So we're going to use plus. What plus does is it says set up a sibling to whatever the previous div tag was. So instead of it being nested one level deep like this symbol gives us, this will create something at that same level. So if I go col 12, col SM, all right, so I already took up 4 of my 12 columns. So 12 minus 4, that's 8. Okay, 8. And then if I push tab now, cool, I have exactly one row. The first division of that row takes up 4 of the columns on a small device, takes up all 12 on an extra small device or cell phone. And then it has another div that takes up 8 of the 12 columns on a small device. So I could easily just copy that whole thing and, copy that, paste that into 2 more times that I need. Or the other option here, we'll Control Z actually, is that since these are all going to be exactly the same, I can wrap this whole thing in parentheses, right? And then I can say multiply 3, and then Emmet, that shorthand abbreviator, will give me 3 of those. So cool. And then I can go ahead and add some lorem ipsum or something. So we'll set up a tag, we'll add that, p tag. And that's just so I can kind of see the things, and yeah. Should have probably added the lorem ipsum a little sooner. Oh, so you see I made a quick typo. I'll fix that real quick. Cool, and that is this layout. Normally, go ahead and finish out the rest of the content here in your text editor once it's all ready. You've added your headers, you've added your images, all of the things that you want. Let's add an H2. Let's make it look like an H4, and let's make it bold, font weight bold. You can learn all of those in the Bootstrap documentation. If you search for, what is it? Topography. Or here, I don't know. Bold. There, font weight bold. You can learn how to bold your text. Or I think it was back on topography actually. You can learn about the headers and how you can, so you can change the way text looks based on a header class. Header. And let's see. Let's put the headers over here. Let's get rid of that actually. We'll make it an image. So we'll just add an image. I don't have the image yet, so I'll just put some placeholder in there. I know what the image is going to be of. It's going to be a picture of someone or something, and I'll add the description of that right now. So cool description, or cool is something, I don't know, some sort of description here. Once you have that, you can go ahead and grab all of your source code. I just cut it with my Control X shortcut. And I'll go into edit, source code, and paste that in all at once. And then I can see everything is pulled in. I have my header, I have my other two. I can finish setting those up. I can click show blocks so that way I can see where I'm at, and then I can go ahead and add the image of, not this cat. Here, let's upload a picture of a dog, right? Oh, that's a cute little pupper. All right. We'll change the file name. In your file names, you don't want to include uppercase letters or spaces. You want everything to be lowercase and separated with hyphens. Just a good practice. Oh, that picture's too big. So you'd have to go into Photoshop and edit it. We've done that in some other videos. This one should be, oh, that's another good dog. These are all just from Unsplash too, so you can get them if you want. Yeah, we'll start the upload and then we'll insert that. And we'll say dog is cool. Because cool is a dog. There you go. Something like that. Whatever you need it to be. And then save it. Once everything, and then, okay, yeah, the picture doesn't pull through. That's just because it hasn't been published yet. If you need to check that out again, go back into edit. Or, submit the picture for approval by itself. We can do that real quick. We just go to where we uploaded the picture. I believe it's this one. Slow, yep. And then we'll just publish that or submit it for publish. It's really easy to get pictures approved as long as they're not like extremely inappropriate. Well, as long as they're not inappropriate at all, you'll be fine. And then we can go back to our left aligned feed page, and then we can see that the picture is pulling in correctly. And you can tweak and do the rest of your layout. I find that it's easiest to use Visual Studio for these sorts of things. It's just faster, and it gives you a lot more flexibility and control when you're trying to create these layouts. So once you're satisfied, you submit it for approval, and as long as there's no major problems with it, it'll get approved. And then you can take the slug of the URL, put that in your URL, and then you can go to the page and actually see what you've done. So cool. Otherwise, you can also see what you've done just by clicking preview. It looks the exact same, except for you don't get the scary, nasty errors. But you shouldn't have those errors at all because you've already added those into your properties. So thanks. Bye.